Wow. That was fast. That was really fast. I mean, it took until about halfway through the day yesterday before I realized, holy cow, it's been 100 days already. And honestly, my low is that it took me that long to realize it when I could have probably figured that out sooner. But looking back, there's a reason why I do have a high. And I'll get to that in a minute. And my act of kindness was, I had to, my grandmother actually got her nails done yesterday. She actually had a manicure and a pedicure. And so I had to, sort of take her around and fix everything for her. Because, I've never had a mani-pedi before, but I do know that, usage of your hands and feet are quite limited until it dries. So, you gotta help out whenever you can. So, there you go. Good morning, welcome to the State of the My Being address, everyone. Yeah. 1,500 days. 1,500. Sorry, I missed my nose eating. This is unbelievable. Again, if I had to describe these 100 days in one word, it would be blurred. These last 100 days were one giant, incredibly eventful blur. Day 1400 alone was Halloween. Right after that, we just immediately kicked off the holiday season. We had important government-related holidays like Veterans Day, Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, Martin Luther King Day. And of course, I just mentioned the holiday season. You have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus. Shout out to the Seinfeld fans out there. And we kicked off the new year. And all that was left was just to get through January, and then we're here. At day 1,500 right now. Not to mention all the birthdays that I was fortunate enough to celebrate during that time. My mother's birthday was November 21st. My sister-in-law's birthday was November 23rd. My birthday is December 28th. Not to mention, we literally just celebrated my father's birthday this past weekend. And these last 100 days were literally pretty much capped off with going to two of the best places in my area, Lib's Supper Club and Elbow Room, which I did take photos of and post on social media for you all to see. Which you should follow me on social media, by the way. And I just think of everything else that happened in between. For those of you who don't know, on New Year's Eve, I did my first live video. Basically, doing a small little, I had a few last words to say before 2021 ended. That was fun. I'm glad I got to do that. I may do something like that again in the future. Although I don't think I'll wait a whole year to do that. I'll think of something, I guess. Let's see what else. Well, with the month of December comes the Why I'm Still Here series I always do every year. And it didn't get any less emotional. I mean, I literally talk about the story of how I contemplated suicide and what ultimately saved me, and why I'm still here now. Hence the name. Hence the name of the series, Why I'm Still Here. Although, considering what happened last August and what I really found out was wrong with me, never did I ever think I would ever reveal what I revealed on December 13th, which was day 1443, which was the story of how, even though right now I'm officially diagnosed with depression and pragmatic communication disorder, for many years I was listed on the autism spectrum, even though there wasn't enough conclusive evidence to really put me on there. A tendency here and there, but not remotely enough to say, I belong on that spectrum. And to this day, I'm still really traumatized by it. Like, just the feeling of worthlessness and inadequacy that I get whenever I think about it. I mean, by all accounts, you would think, by all accounts, when I was first told that it was no longer true, that was a huge weight that was lifted off of my shoulders. I could actually breathe again. But considering that this was roughly 30 years of heartache and heartbreak for myself and my parents, especially my mother, it doesn't just simply go away. And yes, I have told you all that I am seeing a therapist on this sort of matter, but it really is still to the point where, I'm still angry at the faculty I had in the special education system. I'm still angry at Rochester for getting the diagnosis completely wrong, although I have stated that, Rochester really is, an authority on this, possibly the authority on autism spectrum studies. So, it's literally it literally is an instance where the best just made a mistake. That's all there is to it. I don't agree with that, but what can you do? Well, actually, I do agree with the fact that everyone makes mistakes. I shouldn't say that. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Sure, I made mistakes too. Sometimes I hate to admit that because pride allows me to, believe that, it didn't happen, or at the very least it wasn't my fault. Because sometimes mistakes do happen that really aren't my fault. But for whatever reason, I'm roped in anyway, That's just how it is. That's life. But, and I want to make one thing clear. I never believed I was autistic. Not remotely. Because, again, if you saw me in a special education classroom, you saw me and you saw the students that were there, you would immediately be like, Nick, what are you doing? Go on, get out of here. I'm not kidding. And that's not to say that they were all really bad. Some people who were some students that were in that classroom were you'd never be able to tell on first glance. But the fact that they were in that classroom gave them away. That's all there was to it. And it's one of the main reasons why I think the special education system gets so much of a bad rap. because they try and teach students the importance of, life in general, social skills, all that stuff. But they don't really give students an opportunity to really try and, utilize what they learn. Just keep them in that classroom and do group stuff or whatever. Needless to say, I absolutely hated all that. I can't tell you how far behind I would get on my schoolwork because of that back in the day, I can assure you. But as bad as the faculty I had were, I still do believe that there really are people out there, good people, who did want to become special educators. Is that? Yeah, special educators, I guess the word. And, they went to school, got the right degrees, licensing, all that was needed. And now they get to do what they loved and wanted to do for a living, got to pay the bills, feed their families, put food on the table, all the whole 9 yards. So, absolutely, I'm bitter about my experience, but not so bitter that I won't acknowledge that, for the most part, that isn't how it works. I just happen to get really unlucky. And I'll never forget when I did that video. And I like to think I did a great job keeping composure. When in reality, after I made that video, I can tell you at least 5 times throughout the day I started to cry. Not just because of what I did, but because a lot of you all reached out to me because of it. And for that, I will be forever grateful. I literally just said there's good people out there, and the fact that you all supported me after that, that's just proof right there, right? But it doesn't change the fact that, because of this, I still contemplated suicide. And even though I didn't do it, I still have to live with that for the rest of my life. And I want to make one thing clear. I'm never going to commit suicide. Ever. The time to do that was back in 2008 to early 2009. And if I didn't do that then, I'm certainly not going to do that now. I'm 1,500 days worth of videos in. Not to mention the art thoughts that I do and, other videos I've done or maybe some shorts, stuff like that. I don't want to go anywhere. Because in the end, life is just damn beautiful. And when you stick around, you get to bear witness to a lot of great stuff. Or you're able to do a lot of great stuff. Since I finished contemplating suicide, in that span, I got to live to see my brother get married and have children. I've ran 4 marathons and rode 4 100-mile bike rides for charity. 2 of them were for JDRF, and the other 2 were for the food bank of my area, the Southern Tier. And yeah, I've seen some family pass on as well. I'm still going to be traumatized forever by my late grandfather. Even though one of the last things he said to me before he died was that he was disappointed in me. But I'll never forget him. So yeah, if you could describe life as a flavor, it'd be bittersweet. That is without question. But speaking of good stuff, I literally just said, these last 100 days were pretty much capped off with celebrating my father's birthday. And we got to go to Libs. And then the next night, my father and I went to the Elbow Room. Those are 2 of Elmira's top contenders for the best place for a bite to eat, and I went to them both. What more could you ask for? It was great. And not to mention, I finally started, posting what I was about to consume on social media, and a lot of you all have taken a liking to that. Not to mention, I'm in the process of contemplating, can I make a full course menu of life with mom food? Which reminds me, some of you guys have really reached out to me and figuring out what that one dish is. The pasta dish with like the prosciutto and the asparagus tips. Some of you guys have done a great job reaching out to me on what it could be. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, I would like to know if there is a name, just because, to be honest, even if, I do know what the name is, technically I'm not the authority on if it's actually true or not. Really, my two aunts on my mother's side, because they actually love this dish the most, they would tell you if it was the real deal. So, if I ever get enough evidence on that, or I get confirmation, I'll be sure to let you all know. And I'll be sure to get my two aunts in on this so they can put their 2 cents in as well. Thank you. And it hasn't been all, this last 100 days haven't been all perfect. I mean, right now there's one word that could also describe at least these last 30 days, and that's cold. C-O-L-D, cold. And snow and ice. But that's the thing about living in upstate New York. You're going to get weather like this. And think of it this way. These 100 days start off with this weather. These next 100 days, start off with this weather. It's going to be May. It's going to be May. When we get to day 1600. I can guarantee you the weather's going to be a lot nicer then than it is now. So, yeah. And there's plenty of stuff to look forward to. We're about to celebrate Valentine's Day. Well, some people are about to celebrate Valentine's Day. I actually have a special video on Valentine's Day that I personally would like to try and do for myself. Just because, considering what I revealed on day 1443, I think I can go into a little bit more detail as to why I do what I do on Valentine's Day. That's going to be that's going to be, it won't even be a week away. Valentine's Day is not even a week away. And we're already going to get into that one sort of major holiday checkpoint of the year. And not to mention, Lent's going to begin in March, which I can't believe I haven't really done that great of a job trying to give a friendly, gentle reminder to all Catholics out there that, right now on Fridays, you should be eating all the meat that you can, because once Lent starts, you're not going to be able to do that until after Easter, which is going to be mid-April. And 6 weeks can be a long time, let me assure you. But it is what it is. So in these next 100 days, Lent's going to come and then go. And then we'll have Easter. You guys know that Easter's one of my all-time favorite holidays. Although that also does remind me, another thing, considering what I talked about on day 1443, there really is something about a certain month coming up I need to discuss. I'll get to that when we get to that, though. And then, we'll be in spring. Late March, that's when we get to spring. And the weather will finally start getting better. And then, before we know it, May will arrive and, Mother's Day is going to happen. I'm already thinking about when I'm getting my mom. I'm probably not going to get her much. Probably just a card and, some candy. And some flowers. I always get her flowers, too. She really likes flowers. So I'll be doing that. And, the Super Bowl. That's another thing coming up. The Super Bowl's coming up. You know, the Bengals and the Rams. I'll try and make one final pick of that game when we get to it. Do I have a pick right now? The short answer is no. Long answer, it's definitely going to be possible. I'll say that much. But yeah, these last 100 days were something truly special. And it's only a shame that it flew right by. But who knows? I mean, we start off in cold weather now. By the time we get to, May 20th, I believe, or May 19th, I'll have to look it up. But by the time we get there, we'll have already gone through so much. And I personally can't wait until then. So, I guess normally would be an opportunity for me to try and say something profound and sort of wise to sort of end this video with. And there's actually sort of anecdote my father once told me. Obviously, he once said this to sort of scare me into being good. But you can use what I'm about to say as a means of taking advantage of any opportunity. There was once a guy who was trapped on top of his house because of a flood, and the waters were rising. A rowboat appears, and the guy in the rowboat offers the guy to get in, and he said, "No, God will save me." A motorboat appeared, offered the same thing. He said, "No, God will save me." And then the helicopter appeared, offered the same thing, and then the guy says, "No, God will save me." And the waters rose up, and he passed away. And when the guy got to heaven, he said, the guy walked up to God, he's like, "Well, why didn't you come help me?" God said, "I did. I sent a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter." The point is, and this is actually something I've been trying to be better about. When an opportunity of something good arises, take advantage of every single part of that you can. Take the fact that I've been taking photos of, mom food and stuff like libs or elbow room, for instance. Because it's going to probably be a long time before I ever do stuff like that again. I don't know when it's going to happen again. But that's part of the fun. And when that moment comes, you'll know what to do. So, all I can say is I am very humbled that I've made 1,500 days worth of videos for all of you to watch and enjoy. I am very hopeful for another 15,000 days to go by. And I'm still doing this. And I hope in that time you are all having nice days as well. But always remember, there's lots of people you have in your life that you have in your corner. Not just me. So, if you ever need to talk to anyone, those people in your life will always be there to listen to you. I certainly will. And they are most certainly going to have your back. Just like I most certainly will. So, have a nice day, everyone. Let's make good choices. And hopefully these next 100 days go by fast as well. Because at this point, a lot of people in my area are really starting to get sick of the cold. Take care, everyone.